Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Evolved Dad Shortcast. So, I want to talk about investing in our children's lives. So, we all know that investing in any which way, shape, or form can be stressful, especially as dads, where time is definitely not one of those currencies that are on on our side. So, something that I've chosen to do is to spend time doing homework with my kids. I'm not always the best at it. But it's one thing that whether hearing how their day at school went or doing homework, it's something that actually feels so much better than continuing to do all the work that I have to do. From my regular 9 to 5 to stuff around the house, whether that be bills or lining someone up to repair something, repair it myself, run to a store, or even the Evolved Dad brand and all the other things that come along with it. Now, time is something that we never get back, which makes it so much more valuable than money. At the same time, it's not so simple just to say, I'm going to spend more time with my family, not make money, because there's a lot of bills that have to get paid. There's a lot of things that we want to give our family. So it's not so simple. But just to keep that perspective of money versus time, you hear from all these very wealthy people that if they could do anything, they would give up all the money they had to just have the time. My thought's always like, yeah, it's easy for you to say because you've already been there, you've experienced both. But when we haven't experienced both, wealth to such an extent, it's hard to really understand. So, not judging anyone, and I don't know where they're coming from, what their situations were like, and how life is for them. But just to keep in perspective that time is a commodity that can't be controlled. Money can always be made. If we put enough effort into it, time can never come back. Now, when you have that time with your kid, you can make the memories that can have a tremendously long lasting impact. Putting down your phone and saying, yeah, let's go play ball, or putting down your phone and, let's go jump in some puddles. Put down your phone and just reading a book. Those are things that are going to make a very long lasting impression on your kids. And these are things that I've seen that in my own family with my children makes a very big difference. And over time, it builds up a tremendous bond that there's no other way to get it. Now, by creating that bond, you're creating a long term benefit. That quality time that you're giving your child is helping build that connection with them. And you're setting that up in a way where by having that connection, you're going to give your kids something to hold on to as they go through life. Now, this is the baseline of establishing it. There's obviously so many more aspects to, from daily interactions to how you communicate with them, but you got to start with that bond. And that's really where it all begins. Starting to recognize the power that we have with the time that we spend with our children. And taking that time, realizing the power that we have as a dad to show up for our kids and to really start building that bond. For us, those few minutes may seem like they're better spent working. may seem better spent, selling that thing online or buying something else or doing some trading, whatever it may be, whatever your thing is. But in all truth, when it comes down to it, it's the one commodity that you're never going to get back. If you have 40 years with your child, every moment that's ticking is one moment less. But if you really break it down, it's not even 40 years. 40 years may be the same amount of time, maybe the amount of time that you're going to spend together in this world. But the amount of time that you're going to spend together is significantly less. I don't remember the exact ages, but they say something around like 18 summers. Now, if you break that down and think about how fast life goes as we get older, it seems to get faster and faster all the time. And take that into account that let's say you have 10 years with your kids. It's only 10 winters. It's only 10 springs. That's 10 summers. I think I missed a season there. But the idea is that each one of those seasons, whether the seasons of weather or the seasons of a child's growth, the seasons of how you're growing, they're almost fleeting. And we don't have so much time. And realizing that every moment that we have with our child, every minute that we have is an opportunity for us to give over to them to help build them up mentally, physically, emotionally, teach them the tools that we want to give them so that they can then go ahead and succeed as a parent in the future. Taking that extra little time to acknowledge something, give them that little boost. Maybe you can't sit down and read a whole book now, but maybe you could read 2 pages. Show them that you care about them, that that's really what you want to do, and that you're doing all that you can to focus on them because they're so important to you. Give them those tools because you don't want them to rely on you for the rest of your life. It's just a bad road to go down. You want them to be able to pick up as their own and have those tools to be able to succeed, to do things that you never did, that you'll maybe never even get to doing. But because you're infusing them with these things earlier on in life, you're setting them up for tremendous levels of success. And that's everything that I want for my children. I want to see my children succeed beyond my wildest dreams in ways that I can't even begin to imagine financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, for themselves, for their future spouses, for their future children. And my goal is start with those little bits of time and give over what I can, not by focusing on what I'm getting out of it, but focusing on what I can give in that short amount of time. Give some of myself over to my children so that they can now start building that baseline for their future success. And I want you to internalize this. Think about what can you do this week, starting now. Make that commitment to change now. Figure out what can you do today with your child for even just a few minutes. Focus on them and give something over. Give them a little bit of you. Give them your time so that they can turn into a 10x, a 100x of what you want them to be able to succeed with and enjoy in life. I want to thank you again, as always, for joining me today. This is Jonathan, the Evolved Dad, wishing you all the best.